With more than 99% of the votes counted in the first round of Romania's presidential election, a far-right pro-Russia candidate has taken the lead. Calin Georgescu has an unassailable lead of more than 300,000 votes. He has no political party and is known as the TikTok candidate after he used the social media platform to galvanise his support by calling for an end to aid for Ukraine. He's also sounded a sceptical note on Romania's NATO membership. Well, with only a few dozen votes separating the next two candidates, the Prime Minister Marcel Ciolacu and the centre-right Liberal Elena Lasconi. According to the latest count, it's Ms. Lasconi who is just 44 votes ahead of Mr. Ciolacu, and they're competing for a place in the runoff to challenge Mr. Georgescu in the second round of voting in 2 weeks' time. So let's cross over live to our Central Europe correspondent Nick Thorpe, who joins us from Budapest. So how did this candidate, who's known as the TikTok candidate, how did he do it?
Basically, with a very simple message. This is a man, Mr. Georgescu, who was in a different far-right party, Our, meaning gold, and he was actually kicked out of that party by its leader, George Simeon, some months ago because his views were too radical. This was when he spoke in favour, he called heroes of the Romanian government during the Second World War, when it was a pro-Nazi Iron Guard movement in Romania. He called them heroes. They were also responsible for the killing of tens of thousands of Jews during the Second World War. So very controversial figure. The way he's actually done it has been partly with a very simple and very clear message, but also with the use of the algorithm. He's used social media very cleverly, and basically by using a certain technique whereby all your social media accounts are linked, and where certain keywords used by your rivals or other people across the country or across the world trigger a message from you to them. So he's 62 years old, but clearly he or people in his team are very tech savvy. So he's risen really from a few percentage to lead this poll 23% in the first round.
And Nick, so he goes into the second round in 2 weeks' time. Is it clear yet who his challenger will be?
No, that's also another very interesting aspect, another surprise or dramatic aspect of this very long night of counting the votes. For a long time, Marcel Ciolacu, the Prime Minister, who's a populist social democrat, the leader of Romania at the moment, standing in this presidential election, he was way out in front, somewhere on 25%. But as more votes, especially from the big cities, especially from Bucharest, and votes from the diaspora were counted during the night, and that vote is still going on now, Elena Lasconi, who's a liberal and the candidate of the Save Romania Union, so a centre-right party, she has crept up and now very narrowly overtaken Marcel Ciolacu. So we still don't know who will challenge Calin Georgescu in the second round. So that count is still going on.
OK, Nick Thorpe, our Central Europe correspondent in Budapest, thank you very much. So from Budapest, let's cross over to Bucharest and join Cosmin Stan, senior correspondent at Pro TV, a Romanian media organisation. And Cosmin, so this Mr. Georgescu, he's known as the TikTok candidate. He's a far-right nationalist. Tell us a little bit more about him.
Well, good morning, Kasia. This was a real stunner. I mean, nobody saw it coming, actually. Although Mr. Georgescu, he's not really unknown, you know, he has dealt with the Romanian administration before. Well, he's 62 years old, as Nick was saying. He's from Bucharest and is an agronomist and soil science PhD by profession. As I was saying, he has held positions at the Ministry of Environment, the National Center for Sustainable Development, and the United Nations. He has often made statements that have led to him being labeled as pro-Russian or even a representative of Moscow's interests in Romania. And, you know, Georgescu has been proposed in the past as prime minister several times, first in 2011 and again in December 2020 by the Our party. That's the other radical party in Romania. It's the Alliance of the Romanians Union. In 2022, he was appointed the honorary president of this party, but his relationship with the party's leader, George Simeon, became really strained. And then in September, in 2022, he even accused Simeon of secretly supporting the Social Democratic Party, that is the current party in power in Romania. So he's said to have won the first round of this presidential election using a lot of TikTok, but so far nobody knows where he gets his money from, how many TikTok accounts he even has, because you can tell there are so many. The thing is that he won more than 2 million votes this time, and the most interesting part, I would say, is that he won a lot of votes in Romanian communities living abroad. So, for instance, let's say that we have the biggest Romanian communities living in the United Kingdom, in Germany, in France, in Italy, and Spain, and he won all of these countries. Imagine that Romanians living in Western countries, having a good life there, but voting for a pro-Russian guy this time.
Cosmin Stan, a senior correspondent of Pro TV, really good to get your reaction there, joining us live from Bucharest. Good to see you. Thank you so much.